You ever wonder why some people seem to achieve everything they want, but still feel totally unfulfilled? We chase these goals, we climb the corporate ladder, we hit our targets. But what if the way we think about success is, well, just plain wrong? Today, we're going to dig into the principles that separate a flash-in-the-pan achievement from real, lasting, meaningful success. Okay, so let's start right here. Stephen Covey, after studying super successful people for decades, noticed this really strange thing. On the outside, they had it all, the job titles, the money, the recognition. But on the inside, a lot of them just felt empty. And that observation, that paradox, really kicked off a deep dive into what it truly means to be effective. What Covey's research uncovered was this massive shift in how we, as a culture, define success. For a long time, it was all about what he called the character ethic, focusing on timeless principles like integrity, courage, stuff like that. But then it shifted to the personality ethic, which is all about public image, communication skills, and all these quick fix techniques. One is like building your house on solid rock. The other, it's like building on sand. Looks good for a minute, but it won't last. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by really cementing this idea of character over personality. Then we'll get into what Covey calls the private victory. That's mastering yourself. After that, we'll move to the public victory, working with others. Then we'll apply all this to leading teams, and we'll wrap up by looking at how to build a legacy of continuous growth. All right, first up, character over personality. The big idea here is simple but profound. Who you are is so much more powerful and speaks so much louder than anything you could ever say or do. It's all about building from the inside out. So the character ethic, this isn't about learning a new life hack or some slick communication tactic. No, this is about aligning your deepest self, your motives, your core beliefs with these universal principles that just don't change. Think of them like gravity. They're just laws of the universe. You can't break them. You can only break yourself against them. And that is the bedrock of real, lasting effectiveness. Okay, so how do we actually do this? Well, that leads us right into our next section. See, before you can ever hope to effectively lead other people, you have to be able to lead yourself. Covey calls this the private victory, and it's all built on the first 3 habits of highly effective people. Now, habit 1 is an absolute game changer. It's this fundamental shift to realizing that you are the one driving the car of your life. So many people are reactive. They're pushed around by their feelings, by their circumstances, always blaming something outside of themselves. But proactive people, they're driven by their values. They get that between what happens to them and how they respond, there's a little gap, a little space, and in that space is their power to choose. All right, to really get a feel for the next habit, Covey has us do this, well, it's a pretty intense thought experiment. Just take a second and imagine you're at your own funeral. Seriously, what would you want your family, your friends, your coworkers to say about you? What kind of person, what kind of character would you want them to remember? It's a question that just cuts through all the noise and gets you right to what you value most. In that thought experiment, that's the perfect doorway into habit 2. The answers you come up with, that's the foundation for your personal mission statement. And don't just think of it as some document you write once. Think of it as your personal constitution. It's the North Star that you measure everything against, making sure that what you're doing day to day is actually moving you closer to where you ultimately want to go. And habit 3, this is where the rubber really meets the road. This is the day-to-day, moment-to-moment execution of habits 1 and 2. It's about organizing your life around your deepest priorities. And maybe most importantly, it's about having the courage to say no to all the good stuff so you can say a powerful yes to the great stuff that truly matters. These 3 habits together, they build your independence, your self-mastery. But here's the thing. Independence isn't actually the ultimate goal. The highest level of effectiveness in life comes from interdependence, which is just the reality that we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could alone. And that is the public victory. Now, before we jump into the next set of habits, check this out. It's a great concept from Simon Sinek. Basically, there are 2 ways to influence people. You can manipulate them or you can inspire them. Manipulation, sales, promotions, fear tactics, it works, sure, but it's short-term and it builds 0 loyalty. Inspiration, on the other hand, is about giving people a purpose, a sense of belonging. That's what creates a true following. And the public victory is all about inspiration. This leads us right into habit 4, think win-win. And this isn't a technique, it's a total philosophy for how you interact with people. It's built on what's called an abundance mentality, this core belief that there's plenty of success to go around. It's not about you winning and me losing. It's about finding a third alternative, a better way, where we both come out ahead. But okay, getting to a win-win solution isn't always easy, right? It takes real skill. And that brings us to habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. It's about genuine, deep, empathetic listening before you even think about making your own case. And here on the screen is a fantastic, practical tool called the State Model from the book Crucial Conversations. It's like a roadmap for sharing your side of the story in a way that invites a real conversation, not a fight. So when you combine that win-win mindset with a real commitment to understanding others, you unlock habit 6, synergy. And this is where the magic happens. It's that moment where 1 + 1 = 3, or 10, or even 100. It's about truly valuing the differences between people and using those differences to create brand new possibilities that just didn't exist before. It's the absolute essence of creative cooperation. So now, let's take all these principles, the personal ones, the interpersonal ones, and apply them where the pressure is highest in a team. How do you actually lead an effective, synergistic team? I mean, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? We've all been there. You put a bunch of smart, capable, talented people together in a room, and yet the results is just meh. Or worse, it becomes a mess of politics and infighting. What is actually going on? What Patrick Lencioni gives us an incredibly powerful model for understanding this. He identified 5 core dysfunctions that just poison teams. And what's so brilliant about this is that it's a pyramid. Each dysfunction is built on the one below it. And the foundation, the single root cause of almost all team problems, is an absence of trust. Without trust, a team is just operating on that old personality ethic. All show, no substance. And right here, this is where all these ideas just click together beautifully. The kind of trust Lencioni's talking about isn't just about being predictable. It's about being vulnerable. John C. Maxwell calls this the law of solid ground, and he says it's built on 3 things: character, competence, and connection. And look at that first word, character. We are right back where we started, with the character ethic. And this is exactly why you can't just manage your way out of team problems. You have to lead. As Maxwell says, leadership is simply influence. Nothing more, nothing less. Your title might give you authority, but it doesn't make you a leader. Real leadership is earned through the trust and influence that flows directly from your character. Which brings us to our final, crucial piece of the puzzle. You see, true effectiveness isn't some destination you arrive at. It's a journey. It demands a real commitment to constantly learning and renewing yourself. So you don't just succeed for a moment, but you create a lasting legacy of growth. Covey's final habit, sharpen the saw, is actually the one that makes all the other 6 possible. It's about consistently taking the time to renew yourself in 4 key areas: your physical health, your social and emotional well-being, your spiritual side, and your mental game. If you neglect any one of these, it affects all the others. This is the habit of investing in your greatest asset, you. And ultimately, this whole journey of self-renewal, it's not just for you. As Maxwell puts it so perfectly, the real measure of leadership isn't how far you get yourself, it's how far you help others get. By consistently sharpening our own saw, we become a better tool to serve, lift, and develop the people all around us. We create a ripple effect of growth. So, as we wrap things up here, I'm just going to leave you with this question. We've gone from character to the private victory to the public victory, all the way to leading effective teams. These principles are powerful, for sure, but they only work if you actually apply them. So, what's the one small, proactive step you can commit to taking, starting today, to build a more effective, principle-centered life?